Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Sloane.
Hi everyone. Hello,
Thank you
mate.
for joining me.
Absolutely loving your mustache from the get-go. It is absolutely empirical. I don't even know if that's the word, but it says leader to me in a way that some men can't do mustaches, and you certainly can, sir. So
Thank you.
congratulations. As a
Thank
man
you very much.
who's sported a reasonably sized mustache for the best part of last year, I appreciate what it takes to keep that and how much food it keeps.
Yeah. Oh, I find things in this all the time.
Oh yeah.
My,
Oh my God. I
including
know.
more and more grays.
Yes, well, that's something that we both live with, but that's all right. We're going the right way. We carry it well.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So as some of you guys may know who are watching this, Barry and I have known each other for 7, 8 years now. We did a show called Six for History Channel under the A&E umbrella, and Barry was our lead on the show, and he was a lead in more ways than just on camera. When I met Barry, um, he had his little girl. He was married. He had come off some big shows and films. And Barry was somebody that I admired and I look up to. And cut to 7 years later, I'm lucky enough to be married and have my little girl as well. And Barry, when we were doing Six,
Right.
you were an advocate for men's mental health.
Correct.
I remember you adamantly bringing it up and having these conversations with us back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, it's always been something that I've been drawn to. I mean, I've spoken about in other interviews, and I opened up to you guys as well about this, that, I lost a family member to not being able to open up and speak about how they're feeling. And kind of that's something that came into my understanding was, look, let's all talk and make sure that, we're there for each other, and we can show our preconceived weaknesses, if you will, or what in male society is seen as a weakness, is to open up, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it still is there. It's a shame that it's there, but even, when you meet some of your best friends, and you're someone who's aligned to this kind of thinking, sometimes it's still difficult to get round to the heart of it. We can spend 3 hours talking about football or soccer or baseball or basketball, whatever, golf.
Yeah.
We talk about the intricacies, the ins and outs, and the rights and the wrongs of the world, but we never get to the heart of it, which is, are you okay, mate? How's things? How are things really? And I think the more of us can do that for each other, it comes from, and we should talk about this because we bored so many people with our tales of training for this show Six.
Yeah.
We should be fresh here for these guys. So they took six men who'd never met before, who were all going onto the show to play big, tough guys, and they put us all in this van. And this male pride thing is real. Like when you get six guys you never met before, and then you do a push-up competition. It's a real thing. Even if you're, a spiritually evolved, group of actors who are like, yeah, man, I'm open. It's like, no, I want to win the push-up challenge. There's
Oh yeah.
everyone
No, it's my dick's bigger
wants
than
to
yours.
win.
Of course. Of course.
And what the best thing that happened to us, I felt, was that we were broken very, very quickly in front of each other,
Hmm.
earlier than you would like with a group of men you never met before. So your weaknesses were exposed very, very quickly, and you got to the heart of each other in 4 days. We were done. We could see what
Oh
some
yeah.
we didn't entirely know each other, but we know what people's soul looked like
Hmm.
and what they were underneath it all.
Hmm.
I found that fascinating. I thought, wow. And that, we've, because of that, because we were able to break those um, boundaries quickly, we've stayed in touch. Now we've had a thread since we were on the show. We're talking coming up to a decade. In a couple of years' time, it'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and we're still on that thread. It's not every day we're on there, but we're always checking in. Birthdays are checked in, and if someone's got
Mhm.
something to say, we're always on that. I think it's fascinating. We kind of went through a shared trauma, and we're able to get each other through it. And one of the things I loved about that was acknowledging other people's strengths. That some people would be better at one particular thing, and it was
Mm-hmm.
okay. I can't do this. Can you help me with it? You
Sure.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. It was, I don't know about you, but it was absolutely transformational for me. That in hindsight now.
I had never experienced that kind of vulnerability in front of other guys before. Like I had trained on the soccer field, and you know, you run till you puke, and you go head to head with somebody, and you draw blood, or you know, you break your cleats up somebody's back, and you go, you know, you might bitch and scream, but like there was not this, and I loved how you said this kind of soul bearing experience, because that'll take me into something that I think is interesting because it's come up before, and it's like this idea of identity, right? What do we identify with? Who are we? Like, do you really know somebody? Now, you said, you know, we knew each other's soul within a matter of days. Now, we may not have known each other well, but like the soul is this kind of intimate, like the center of who we are, right? And we talk about identity, and it's just like I we identify in this world so much as like, you know, the cars we drive, and then you just go, you know, okay, well, we identify as a father. Let's take away the material stuff, and then we get into, okay, well, I'm a father. Okay, well, that's good, you're a father. That means, you know, you're a family man. Okay, well, morally your values are perhaps in the right place. People struggle with family as well. And then you go, okay, well, are you married? Are you not married? Okay, well, that may mean another thing that you chalk up and that you identify with. But like the soul is even more vulnerable than these other things that we kind of strip down, and slow, like we slowly pull away these clothes that we wear that we identify with. And the soul is simply like, who are you when all is lost? Who are you when you can't move anymore? Who are you when you can't breathe anymore? Who are you when you need somebody to pick you up and carry you? Are you able to ask for help? Like how, like that experience for us. I just remember carrying these sandbags down to the beach at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was like 55 degrees, and my hands were all cut up, and I'm looking at, you know, I think it was you or maybe Juan Pablo who was standing in front of me, and they were, everybody's still going, because it's the same idea as that push-up competition. It was like, who's going to break first, which built a ton of strength between us all. And then we got down to the water, and they said, okay, do your push-ups, and then you're going to go into the water at 2 o'clock in the morning at 55 degrees, and you're going to try and eat an MRE. And I was just like, I'm shivering, cold, I'm tired, and I want to cry. And I don't know you guys well
Yeah.
enough
Yes.
to ask for help, or to, I think the most we got out of one another, I think that was I think that was the first night, um was like this look where you could look the next person to you in the eye, and that look just said like, you're not alone, you're not,
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I'm in pain too, I want to quit too, I want to cry too, I want to run to my mom, like whatever it was, like it was just
But that's what they taught us, right? Was to like the only way to get out of your head is for me to look to you and go, Kyle, are you okay?
right. Yeah.
Because then I stopped giving a shit about me for a minute, which is
Mm-hmm.
life. It's like we all get caught up with the shit we're going through. It's like put it on somebody else and just
Yeah.
check it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And you said
And
something
then
brilliant about soul. Sorry, I'll let you come back, but it's one of those things when you're running, like a big Alan Watts is huge for me in Zen Buddhism and kind of the understanding of where that's all, which was
I
basically what
love
Kyle
Alan. Yeah.
in the show. But it's like, the soul for me, what's funny is to my understanding of it, or to how I believe it to be, is that we're all the same thing looking out through different eyes. So you're kind of looking at each other in these circumstances going, wow, you've picked that character. That's funny. We're all going through this together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And you
Yeah.
kind of you kind of see yourself in other people. It's like, oh wow, look at him doing that. That's amazing. You kind of
Hmm.
we're all going through this thing together. At certain parts of our life, we've decided that we needed this kickstart. And it probably took 5 or 6 years for all of us to realize what that was, but it was kicking something off
Mm-hmm.
mentally. And we'd
Mm-hmm.
kind of, in our soul contract or whatever, we decided that at this point we would meet this and we would have this test. And it's a rites of passage. And you talk about masculinity as well. There used to be these rites of passages throughout history, right? You would take a group and you would put them through a challenge, usually a lot younger than we went through it. And you would break them and you would force them to experience something, and they would walk out of the forest and they would be, quote unquote, a man. They would be,
Sure. Yeah.
challenged with something. And I think very important to be challenged, to have your ego placed in front of you and see the vulgarity of that ego, the ugliness of what you were carrying, to have a look at it and go, if I was genuinely put in crisis, I might fail here. I now know that I wouldn't, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I rebuilt something. But up until that point, I was incapable of some things
Sure.
that I found
Sure.
out. It was a
Yeah.
difficult lesson, but
Sure.
really important, beneficial, you know?
The experience was something that I'll hold dear to my heart for forever. To simplify one of the experiences with regards to what we're talking about, mental health, the opportunity to be able to ask for help. Do you remember being in the water in the freezing cold that night and then going, all right, scooch together, butt to nut to butt?
Yeah, yeah,
And it was like, no, 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 no.
yeah. Exactly.
I'm not
Yeah,
hugging and straddling the man
yeah,
in front of me
yeah, yeah.
because come on, that ain't
There's no,
masculine. That's
yeah.
not something I'm gonna do,
Oh
right?
God, but it was warm.
Right? Oh my gosh. But okay, so just taking and simplifying that as a metaphor, right? Like if you want to be all masculine and
Yeah,
you want to stand alone away from that crowd of men who are hugging each other, who are holding each other, and virtually taking care of one another, warming one another, allowing one another to live, you will freeze by yourself.
there you go.
You will walk away alone and you will quit.
Yeah.
And so when that first night happened and it was like, well, I'll go on the front because maybe then I'm just getting hugged by one guy. I'll tell you, by the end of that experience, 4 days into it or whatever, and they said, all right, butt to nut, I was the first person to be in the middle, being
Yeah,
hugged
yeah.
by
Warm
two
me up.
dudes going,
Yeah.
warm me up, man, because
Be my fire.
I can't
Yeah.
do it by myself,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely that. Absolutely that. Nobody can do it alone, and you can only do it when you're part of a group. And as you say, I'm forever grateful for them giving that to us, because that was, to me, in hindsight, more important than any of the acting we did on the show. When you look back on it, you think, okay, it was great, but that has stayed with me way more, way longer, and it's more present in my mind, that experience, than any of the fake stuff we did.
Sure,
Even though
yeah,
the fake stuff was really cool, and I'm very happy that I did it.
yeah. Um, so dude, so you're a Scouser, yeah?
Yes,
I
born and
couldn't
bred.
tell. I couldn't tell by the accent. I just couldn't tell. Um, um, so generationally, growing up in Liverpool, what was it like? Because I know for me, I grew up in an environment where I was loved by my parents very much. But when the idea of therapy kind of came up, or the idea of wanting to talk to somebody, it was kind of met kind of dismissively. It was like, well, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. And now at 30 years old, I've been in, 30 years old since I was 30. I'm 40.
I was gonna say, wow.
Thank you. I've been in therapy for 15 years on and off. I've explored it. I love it. And we have the opportunity of mental health, and the tools of mental health, whether it be the internet or anything like that, are a little bit more like at our disposal. What was it like for you? In when were you born? Where were you born?
Born. Yeah, I was born in Liverpool in 1981. I'm 43 now. So
Hmm.
I was a child of the 80s, my teenage years were the 90s, when I was kind of becoming a man or becoming 18, 19 was it the late 90s. So it really, in Liverpool and in my close circle of family and stuff, it wasn't something that was spoke about. The UK itself has a greater stigma than I found in the United States when I came over. Just in general, it really is like, you don't want to, just get on with it, And I suppose Canadian and British kind of maybe share that sentiment, to be honest, that it was just like, just you'll be fine, just crack on, Look at
Mm.
him over there, he's all right. Just he
Yeah.
seems to do what he's doing. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what he's going through, but yeah, it was not something that was afforded to me. I only used therapy later in my life, and I'm really grateful that I did because even a very simple thing with therapy is like saying something to someone who's outside of you and them going, "Oh yeah, that's quite common." And you go, "No, look, it just can't be.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
unique." And they go, "No, no, that's pretty standard mental shit. That's
Yeah.
fine."
Most people are going through that.
Yeah, yeah, everyone feels that. You go, "No,
Yeah.
well," and as they say, it's a common thing, but a problem shared is a problem halved, and it really is just a bit of that, just making sure that you're voicing things that could fester. And meditation alongside that has been key, but growing up, no, it wasn't. My friends weren't going to therapy, my family weren't going to therapy, so I wouldn't have known where to start, to be honest.
Hmm.
I think my understanding of it was you had to be sectioned to kind of need it, a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah.
You had to be way down the line, you know.
Hmm.
And usually in my circles, it was just you just drank, and that's
Yeah.
still the UK Canadian kind of thing anyway,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Were you ever a big drinker?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
I,
I was a
I was
big,
a big drinker too.
yeah. It was, I think it became, a huge coping mechanism for me. I realize now after years of sobriety that it was the only tool I had to deal with whatever triggers came up in me. I was obviously in pain or feeling pain or had caused pain.
Hmm.
And my only way to stop that neuroses or cycle of mental abuse was to numb it for a bit and steal from tomorrow or Wednesday.
To escape, yeah, or Wednesday, whatever day it is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, and I think that's prevalent in. I'll only speak for the UK, but it's huge. I mean, I was only speaking to my wife about this the other day because we bought some cigarettes from my mother because we were coming back off a holiday. And on the
Mhm.
packaging in the UK now, it's just like there's pictures of like eyeballs dying and lungs, which is, I'm glad I don't smoke anymore because I wouldn't want to carry one of those packs with it on.
Right.
But I was like, okay, this is one thing, but it is someone's personal choice to do it. I think, if they're that bad, maybe fucking ban them. Don't force somebody to like see some, you know what I mean? I think it's a bit
Yeah.
cruel. So
Just
put
ban them.
something to it and make them see it. But I was like, why is that not on a bottle of vodka or gin then? Why can't you see like cirrhosis of the liver on a bottle of gin? Why is I was always surprised in the United States about how many commercials for medicine there was when I
Hmm.
full time in the States. I was like, fucking hell, every other commercial's for like
Yeah.
a medicine.
Viagra.
And then
Something like
it
that.
tells you, yeah, it tells you during the commercial how many ways this thing can give you other things while curing the thing
Yeah.
you've got.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but then I got back to the UK and spent more time here again, and I was like, every other commercial's for ale. I was like, this is mad, and it's all this, there's rules in advertising. It can't be just one guy in a pub on his own. It needs to be at least three. It can't be two. That looks like a couple. It has to be at least three guys. They have to be really healthy. They have to be smiling with the girls. The five girls having a great time. It never cuts to like, that person at the end of the night who's then gone back to their house and can't stop drinking and has decided to drink everything in the kitchen.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a lot more people than we think.
Hmm.
People hide their drinking level. Someone tells you what they drink, it's nearly always twice or three times more. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because I remember people saying to me, like, how many pints did you have last night? And I go, oh, I don't know, like 6 or something like that. No, and full well, it was probably 10, probably 12, and then shot. Because you and I both drank together. When we
We
got
were
on it,
there, man.
yeah, there was no like we were good at it. So there wasn't like, and we had, you kind of build a tolerance, right?
We were
And
good at
when you grow up around friends and family that do that too, I remember having some girlfriends back in the day who'd be like, you drink quite a lot, like would question
it.
like the drinking habit. And because I'd seen this habit being normalized, I'd be like, no, it's not. That's not a
Yeah.
lot. You know what
Everybody
I mean?
drinks like this where I come
Yeah,
from.
well, exactly. Everybody drinks like this.
Yeah.
Why don't you drink this? You're the weird one.
You're the
Yeah.
lightweight.
Exactly. Yeah. Just,
No.
and you only get that through being around people with a healthy attitude toward it. And when you see that, you're like, oh, maybe I don't have a healthy attitude towards it. I said the main thing for me that made me realize, I never got to a rock bottom, which I'm really grateful for. Like I was able to kind of get in front of it before it blew up everything and everyone who loved me. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm
Hmm.
not going back to my wife, being who she is, and me seeing that before it got there. But it was like if I say, and I don't know how many people this appeals to, but say we go out with the kids in the daytime and we stop at a nice, beautiful country pub in the sunshine. It's a nice day.
Hmm.
I'm out with the kids and I'm driving a car and we're driving in and we're going to go back home after. We're only out for the afternoon and we'll have a lunch and I'll get one beer. And I'm only going to have the one beer. It's going to be a nice beer, lovely pint, cold. I drink that beer. And whether or not for the rest of that day I have any more beer,
Hmm.
up here, I want all the beer. And I'm thinking of ways that I could have more beer. Now, I could control myself enough that I wouldn't be like going to the liquor store and kind of secretly getting some. I wasn't there, but it was like my brain was like obsessing over how can I say to Kate, oh, well, should we just get like a couple of bottles of wine and,
Yeah.
have a little party sort of thing? She's like, no, the kids are going to go to bed. It's mid-afternoon, they got school in the morning. Why? Like, why? That's not healthy. It's not a healthy way of thinking about it. So I realized that, like, if you've got that kind of voice in the head, I call him
Hmm.
Liam. I find it quite fun. Like he often comes and will say, "Yeah, come on, Baz, let's go. We can go down the pub and have, And I think I know how this ends, Liam. You know,
Yeah.
we're not
Sure.
gonna. Oh, it's not gonna be that much fun. You know what I mean? So
The ends does not justify the means when it
no,
comes to the way that you and I used to drink. That's for sure.
no, not
Um,
conducive to a Monday morning.
what's that?
Not conducive to a good Monday morning.
No. And now I go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I'm up at 6 every day without an alarm. And I like the person in the mirror. It's nice. It's actually like there's a lot more as funny as it is like, you and I think we both used it in the same way where it's like you could escape. You could just you could shed the weight
Yes.
for a few hours. And then it was hard for me to stop drinking because I didn't want to go back to reality. I didn't want to
Yeah.
go back to wearing the vest of reality. And so like I'd have these small escapes, right? And then I stopped drinking, and then it was just kind of like, all right, I guess I just gotta like live, like just
Yeah.
live, face stuff, deal with shit. I mean, I can't just take a break for 4 hours, sleep it off, and then go back the next day. Like, no. But then, after a few months of like just having to deal with it, all the things that used to feel big started to not feel quite as big because I was dealing with them on a regular basis. It's like things become habitual. Like nobody likes cleaning their room. But if you clean your room every day, cleaning your room isn't going to feel like a
Not a lot to
big
do.
deal or a chore. It's just something you do. And so for me, dealing with the ups and downs in life without that crutch after 3 months, after 6 months, after a year, it became easier. I'm 4 years now. And now it's just like, you know what? I shake my head. Sometimes I go into my garage and scream. Sometimes I got to go to the gym and punch a punching bag. Sometimes I got to go on a run. Um, sometimes I need to cry. Sometimes I need to ask my wife for help. Sometimes I need to talk to my friends and tell them that I'm just overwhelmed and just trying to keep my head above water. But the majority of the time, I have no problem dealing with life and not picking up a bottle.
But
So,
isn't that the key, what you just said? It's it's important to know that when you stop drinking or whatever your coping mechanism may be, none of the problems that were there go anywhere. You're just not adding a hangover and drunkenness,
anxiety.
all the discombobulation of life that can bring to it. And you have some space, to kind of, my personality is much calmer actually without it. I found when I drank, it actually took me quite insular. I could be quite moody with it sometimes as well.
Mm,
You know, and I don't. I can go to events and parties and things now and just kind of be more like Barry, and I'm all right. You know what I mean? Like I don't really need it to be conversational, whereas I always told myself that I did.
hmm
But yeah, it's all, and as you said, then having those outlets, whatever they may be, working out is key. Having something like that, something physical, because it really does help the body and mind to just run it, hit,
Yeah.
grab, lift something is important. But I've always found that, meditation for me has been a game changer as well. Um,
So
just
let's talk about the things that you do on a regular basis to kind of stay sane. I know that you were an athlete for a long time. You're a musician. You're internal as well as external. You're an athlete as well. So you have a lot of facets. You have a lot of outlets that you've been introduced to over the course of your life, including I know your wife is very spiritual and a wonderful influence on you. Can you kind of get into some of that stuff? What helps you and what and why?
Um, as you just said, even Katie has been on this path longer than me, but I've been lucky that in the house there's always a book left on the side, or there's footsteps for me to walk in,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of you know find a way into this mysticism and this energetic work that as an actor is actually really, really important to understand, and something that I'm trying to pass on to anybody who'll listen, is that when acting is done at its best, you are creating an energetic space within you as a vessel, and then you are hoping to ride a wave of energy and create a piece of art using your whole body, mind, brain, soul, everything. So you're
Mm-hmm.
always like a vessel, and if you're not careful, you attract the wrong energy in. And if you don't have a way to let that energy out, it lives in you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta be really careful with what you're doing. So for me, a physical example of that is I just spent the last 9, 10 months playing. I did a play called Boys in the Black Stuff. I did it in my hometown, and we did it at the National Theatre. We did it in the West End, and it was incredible. Really proud moment. But this character I played is really, really. He's having a mental breakdown. Basically, he loses his family, his wife, his job. It's all about masculine male identity and heartbreak. And this iconic character called Yozza Hughes. And it was so tense every night and so dark. And I I started off really well, but the longer the run went, I was caught up in that energy so much, and I wasn't meditating as much as I should, and I started eating not as well as I should, and I stopped going to the gym, and I kind of just started living in this guy's space more. And I finished the job, and it was like a day A day after, or we had a holiday booked. We went on a Disney cruise, which was a complete amazing experience to like go from mental breakdown to a Disney cruise.
I'm
Anyway,
sure.
yeah. We left, and I was completely fine. I've been doing a Navy SEAL push-up challenge with the
Sure.
cast every day to keep them, something I introduced early on for keeping us going. So I was in, I was doing that, and then the day after we finished, I just got this total pain in my neck, back, arm, my whole left arm, like aches in my wrist, everything. Like the physical embodiment of that pain that I was feeling every night came into my body, and
Mm.
it's literally just left me through stretching months after. And I've lost some hearing in my left ear. Like this thing manifested, like this, I
Wow.
couldn't clear the energy that I was playing with, and it manifested through my body. It's been such a privilege to have actually experienced it, because I've been gifted this first-hand experience of how dangerous a certain energy work, which I now consider acting to be,
You're
um,
right.
especially theatre, because the demons are so close. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? You're having
Hmm.
to go on every night and find a new way, and really create that space, because the audience's energy is hugely part of that, and you
Hmm.
invite people space and then just surf, basically, and sometimes you get drenched. Sometimes.
Wow.
But yeah, so meditation for me is an energy cleanser, is a palate cleanser. It is, if you think, we talk about these guys aren't my vibe or whatever, there's literally an energetic sphere around us. And when we're
Hmm.
in people's company, you kind of like, fuck, don't like that straight
Yep.
away. Just feel
Yep.
it. Just because you
Yep.
touch it, like touching of a magnet, or whatever, you just know. And so I use meditation as a form of that, making sure that my energy is like this, so I can travel through life as smoothly as possible. And I use it to listen. This was the most important breakthrough for me with meditation. I think I've said this to you before. Is like people panic and try and like clear the mind and sit in silence. It's like, no, that's gonna happen when you're dead. Don't worry. Like there'll be no thoughts then. Like now you're supposed to, as I understand it, listen to the repetitive nature of your thoughts, of that voice that keeps saying the same shit it said to you since you were 12, 8, 9, 10. It's the same stuff going round and round and round. And you can catch it and go, oh God, I'm saying that thing again. I'm doing that thing again. And imagine it like if you had two best friends either side of you, and any of them said any of the things that you say here, you tell them to fuck off.
Mm.
You wouldn't sit with them for a minute, but yet we allow ourselves to speak to ourselves this way. It's crazy. It's like you have to find it funny. Humor breaks everything. So I sometimes sit meditating and I'll have this mad conversation with this version. I'll be like, look, I need 25 minutes now. We'll talk about the thing that happened in 1997 in a minute. I'm
Correct.
just trying to do 25 minutes
Hmm.
of thought. We'll come
Hmm.
back to you. And it's just finding those humorous parts of like the weight, rather than,
Yeah.
empowering it. And it
Hmm.
just, I'm just looking for a lightness, and I find that that really helps me, you know.
So can I
How,
ask?
do you use any form of meditation, or is that something that's coming into your sphere, or?
So it came into my sphere about 3 years ago. A friend of mine introduced me to it, and I stuck to it for probably about a year. And I found it helpful. Actually, I'm going to say this is more 5 years ago now because I haven't practiced in about 3 years. Um, I found it now. I didn't know much about meditation as I was practicing it. I, I kind of I didn't do enough research. I didn't do enough. I didn't learn enough about it. So when I sat down to meditate, I prided myself on being able to take first 5 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 15 and then 20. And when I could get to 20 minutes, and for me, my goal was always to clear my mind. It was just to clear my mind, to give myself a break and allow myself to breathe. Now, part of the meditation for me was just breathing. Like I realized that I wasn't a good breather. Like I'd hold my breath throughout the day. Something would make me anxious, and I'd take a breath, and I wouldn't let it go for minutes. And subconsciously, I'd be like, "Oh, I haven't been breathing for a while."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so meditation for me, when I was doing it at this time, was very much quiet. Like it was just, I would try and focus on the third eye, which is kind of here, and I would just try and clear my head. Now, sometimes 20 minutes would go by like that, and I'd feel like I was onto something. And sometimes 20 minutes would feel like it took 2 hours to go by.
Mm.
And those are the days when I felt like I was struggling a little more. And then I'll tell you why I kind of stopped meditating. And I talked to somebody else about this, and I'd love to get your input on it too, because I already now know that like it's not about just clearing your head. But when I was meditating, I'd clear my head and I'd feel lighter and I'd feel better. And I'd sit up afterwards and I'd go, you know what? I'm going to have a really nice, beautiful day. And I'm going to relax and I'm going to carry this energy through my day with me. And nobody's going to change that. And then I'd get in my car, and I go to pull out onto the street, and somebody would almost hit me and lay on their horn. And I would go, you know what? No, fuck you too, asshole. And it would be gone.
It would be
And
gone.
I'd feel this spectrum of being like so calm and relaxed to like so hypersensitive to everything that was going on around me.
That's because you're identifying with the car again. You're probably thinking in some way that that person is having a go at you. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just person. One of the most fascinating things about that, about road rage, I think we all suffer with that, but it's like I can't remember who it was that said it, but it's like the only person anger makes ill is the person feeling it. So it's like there's nothing more satisfying than when someone gives me that in a car, is to just go and see what happens. Honest to God, it's like, because they can't react back.
They're stuck in a car. Yeah. What are they gonna do?
You know, it's like it's so empowering to just kind of try and not allow them to throw their illness onto you. But I
Yeah.
understand when someone can annoy you, it can get out of
Well, it
hand
was
quick.
just I found it difficult to go from like such peace and
Yeah.
then not feeling like I had control over like how quickly I'd snap out of it.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think that part of that reason was because my goal was to find to be to not to feel so little, but to like to be at such calm
Yeah.
in the mornings as I was starting my day, which
Yeah.
my day is not going to be calm. We do not live in a calm society. I should be doing those. I should have been doing those kind of meditations before bed. Like I didn't know enough about it at the time to be kind of like understanding when to set intentions, when to try and be calm, and kind of like but it comes up often. Meditation is a very powerful tool.
But it can take time as well. Like it's like keep on, keep on, keep on, and don't expect anything from it. And this is not me not saying that I don't attract anything negative. I mean, I just spoke about something that I've been going through. Like it can
Mm,
happen, but it's like eventually you can with the right number of stacked correct decisions, you can raise your vibration so that the negative elements in society don't attract to you like a polarity. So
hmm.
you can, like a knife through butter, you can just go fucking through a day. And
Yeah.
like, cars
Yeah.
up 405 suddenly isn't such a fucking ball ache. It moves, you know, all
Yeah.
these all these things. But it's just as with anything which is a lifetime thing, like meditation can be with me for life till I'm not here anymore. It's like there may never be a day in which I'm given this eureka moment,
Hmm.
but I just gotta keep paying the piper and keep myself calm as much as I can.
Of
And then
course.
Let it all out with characters, you know.
Of course. Do you have, so we are essentially, we're trying to have these conversations to kind of go like, to kind of lead by example, like, we've known each other for a long time. You and I have a tendency to not talk to one another for a long time and then touch base and just go like, how are you? You good? I miss you. And then, you've got your family, you've got a lot of other things. You live on the other side of the world now. And then you go back to your life and we touch base again in another 6 months. You've got your family. I've got my daughter now. Part of the reason is to kind of just be able to go like, let's have some deeper conversations. Do you have a lot of friends nowadays that you talk with about any of this stuff?
About the mental health stuff, yeah, yeah, there are people who I grew up with. I've actually reconnected with the guys I was in the band with
Mm-hmm.
back, which has been great as well. But yeah, there's like I said, a vibrational thing. So you kind of, when you start meditation, you start lifting the vibration. You get new people come in to your existence that are on that level of vibration. So it's like I equate it to like when you have a kid, right? All of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you find out that just around the corner was always this playground with loads of people there that
Yeah.
you never existed. Like in LA, it's crazy. You go around, you're like, there's a park here for children. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was never there. And all of a
Right.
sudden, oh, there's a school here, and there's all these things that are like parent related. Suddenly go bang, 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 bang. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I found loads of people and friends have come into my life since I changed the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
They're aligned to the same way of thinking, and you go to, you meet people at certain meditation retreats or classes or things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Kind of, kind of all opens together. So yeah, thankfully I have people I can talk to about it. Um, but yeah, it's also a very personal and insular thing that I enjoy too. That I feel, and that's kind of like my lone wolf mentality that I've always had as
Yeah.
well. I will. I feel the onus on me to fix this as
Mm-hmm.
well personally,
Sure.
and all I can do for the benefit of everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
know, fit the whole world. If I start with me,
Yeah. There's
that's
a there's a neat example, that when the air mask comes down on the airplane, always says, put yours on first, so then you can take care of the people around you, and that kind of keeps coming up in these. And I think that's
yeah,
just a very simple example as to like take care of yourself so you can take care of the people around you, which I think is so important.
love that. Yeah,
Barry, thank you so much, man. I'm so proud of you. Um, we'll have another chat. We'll pick up another cool topic down the line, and it's been so nice to touch base. Please give my love to the family.
likewise.
And dude, you're killing it. How was your experience on was it Sandman?
Yes, yeah, great, really
I've been a
good.
big Neil Gaiman fan for a long time. I've read all his
Oh, mate,
books.
you're gonna love it. It was so much fun. I mean, I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan. I read American Gods, and I knew I'd read Sandman as well, so I was like well
Hmm.
into. And then when it came up, just being on set was like, because I did the chemistry read with Tom, so I was like, fucking Sandman walked in, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is cool.
That's so rad.
And
I
then, and
love
then
it.
we got to do some amazing stuff, and the scale and scope of this show is just huge. I got to like, what it's like working TV and stuff like that. And so I got to day one of the shoot, and literally we had from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. to shoot one scene. And I was like, this is some level of cash that
Wow.
I've never come across before. I mean, it's Netflix and it's one of their big ones. So I was like, okay, well, this is nuts. And there was cranes and people on things and
It's like shooting a feature.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it just looks stunning, you know what I mean? And then, working with a talking dog, which Steve Coogan is voicing, which is great.
Yep.
Uh, I'm very excited about that. Yeah, it's the season looks amazing, looks epic. Um, and I saw the last few bits of ADR last week, and can't wait. So next year, um, Hopefully not at the same time as Stranger Things. It'll be out. The whole monster launch on the same week as that, but it'll be out next year.
I can't wait to see it, man. I love you so much. I'm a fan as always and always will be. Keep leading by example. And I appreciate you very much, brother.
Love you too, mate. Take care.
All right.